All right, let's take a look at Tesla. This is a chart that people ask me about a lot, and it's one of my favorite Fibonacci charts, and it's just an incredibly interesting company. So this is the chart that I look at when I look at Tesla. I use an extension from this move in April 2013, which was when Elon announced that the company was profitable, and this set off a move to the upside, which ended when a Model S crashed and exploded, set off about a 6-week period where there was a pretty hard sell-off. There was some speculation about them not being able to open up their plant in Germany, which they ultimately got approval for. And that move ended at this anchor point. And that's why I have this extension from point A to B to C. And you can see down the road, you know, kind of using some hindsight, that this is the correct anchor point where this bottom tested. And it also, the lines are pretty clear that this extension is what's being used to push this chart along. One of these things with this extension is we're going to see a top, this 100% level is going to be a significant resistance level until we can break through. And a lot of even really healthy charts aren't going to just smash through this level without a test and confirmation that this story and this profitability trend is still intact. Once that, there was another, I mean, they've had a couple of different crises where, you know, there's a lot of short interest, people betting against the company whenever there are issues about them potentially not being able to secure debt. The stock sells off. They've always been able to turn it around and find their money. And that's why this extension continues to play out. Some significant things here. In 2017, this 100% level finally broke out to the upside, and it was a pretty quick move to this next level. 161.8 is going to be a really major resistance level, and then ultimate buy signal, which you can see it hit this, you know, 5 or 6 times over the course of a few years. When it failed to break through, you know, it only gets so many attempts before you hit a point where investors maybe lose faith in the story, or you know, these charts just play out. If you can't break through and hold this, you're going to see people that say forget it, and they, you know, liquidate their position, or they move on. And that can coincide with headlines or fundamentals or technicals. A lot of times it all works together. So once this move here sold off and you got this big bounce in June of 2019, this reversal level was really pretty huge. You can see it tests these levels, it breaks through 100%. Once it breaks through 100%, it's a really quick move to this next level. And it finally, in the start of this year, which is coinciding with this huge move that we're seeing in Tesla, it breaks out from this 161 level. And now this is our buy level with a sell at 423.6, which is up here at about 800 bucks. It overshot to the upside. It almost always will when there's this much leverage and short interest and, you know, uncertainty with a stock, with, you know, a celebrity CEO that, you know, people are an evangelist for. People have strong feelings about this stock one way or the other, and that leads to big moves. It's also at the center of machine learning and AI, and I think a lot of the trading that looks at Fibonacci and trading, we see these charts play out more perfectly in stocks like Nvidia and Tesla, and you know, they're all over the place. But the ones that get traded with machine learning and algorithms, these become guidelines that become kind of self-fulfilling in a way. Looking at the daily on this for this last little part of this move on this breakout, you can see once it breaks in, I mean, really clearly 423 is our sell level at about $800. Once we failed to hold this level, this tick on March 3rd, which is, you know, we gapped up to this level. We opened right at the level of 800, failed to hold it, closed below. That close below is a cascade effect until this next trend level down here. My guess is now that we've bounced off of this and we've held 261.8 at this 550 level, we've seen three really aggressive gap days. My guess is that we're going to 800. We'll probably overshoot into this 850 range. We're going to get another 100, 125 points in Tesla, would be my guess. From there, we're either going to, we need to test the highs at some point and see if this valuation at this level can be something that can sustain itself, or historically 423 is where you're going to want to, this is where this move is going to complete itself, and either a new move is going to start one way or the other. So we're looking to see what it does around this 800 level, how it responds, if it can hold it. If it can hold it, we're going to have a new trend to extend from this point right here. Once it bounces off of 161, we'll extend this up once we get a new high in. But yeah, it's interesting to see what's happening in Tesla, especially looking at really the preciseness of where these peaks and valleys are. The Fibonacci's are not, perfect, but they are guidelines for which peaks and troughs are more significant or less significant than others, and then where we're going to maybe long-term reverse on trends. I think it's best to apply both what you're seeing in the charts and the fundamentals and in the headlines, the story, and merge all of that stuff together, because this Fibonacci chart is really an extension of the move of, is this company going to be profitable, and are they going to stop burning cash, and are there projects that they're working on, are they going to come together in a way that complies with the vision of the investors and what Elon's wanting to get done? Do you believe they're going to continue to do that, or do you think they're going to stumble before that happens? A lot of that is baked into these charts and how people are positioning and thinking. We're looking at, a lifetime 10-year plus chart of Tesla, and it's all of the themes and products that they have announced and are working on, and every single announcement is a move in this chart. And when they gap and they hit, when there's less clarity, that's when you see big gaps like this, where this is where the day closed and this is where the next day opened. When you have these big gaps, they heat seek to these technical levels, just because that's where we're trying to figure out, okay, what level are we going to test and hold, and is the theme intact? That's the only relevance of the charts. Some of these big gap days, when there's a gap like this, this is an earnings event and the results announcement and the next day of trading. When they don't know quite where it's going to go, it's going to test this level, and once this level holds, boom, off to the upside. This is just one example we randomly zoomed in on. So it all works together. Going back to this monthly, it can be kind of hard to see, but this is where the month opened, where this bottom tick is. This is where it traded down to, and this is at highs. I think we're just going to continue to press through highs and go up towards, 800 for sure, most likely a test of 975, depending on what's going on with the coronavirus, all that stuff. So interesting stuff in Tesla.